My 41F boyfriend, 33M, gave me an STD, lied about it, and came clean 11 months later, and blamed the STD on me and that I seduced him. My therapist said it happens a lot and isn't a big deal. That response seems messed up, is it? Note: I am 1 week new to Reddit. I've never done this before now, talking to people I don't know about serious topics, for advice, direction or support, and I am not sure what to call it. But it is really helpful. I don't have a good sense of right and wrong, since I grew up in a situation where I repressed that instinct. Thank you. Here are the basics. I met my boyfriend of 2 years online. It was my first online date. 3 weeks after meeting, we slept together. The condom didn't fit, etc., since it was a natural one, so we didn't use it. He didn't come in me, but there was contact. Afterwards, I asked him about his sexual history, and he said the last woman he had been with was his wife of 7 years, which was my understanding beforehand, and why I felt safe having sex. 2 days later it accidentally came up that he had slept with one woman after his wife that he met online, that they slept together twice and that he had used a condom. I asked why he didn't tell me that, and he said he didn't want to seem easy or like he sleeps around, and cared what I thought. I asked him about 4 times in the following year, did you definitely use a condom? Since I had high-risk cancerous HPV once, about 15 years earlier, which cleared, and didn't want to get it again. He said yes. I didn't go to get any exams and we had a monogamous relationship without condoms and with BCP. I got my annual exam about 8 months later and had high-risk HPV. He started crying and hyperventilating and said he was crying because he was so sad this was happening. It turns out that he was also crying because he had lied and hurt me. The doctor said watch your stress and it will hopefully go away. He didn't respect this and would scream at me often after this, as he has anger issues. I asked him if he was honest about using protection prior to meeting me and he said yes. About 2 months later he came clean and said he had unprotected sex 3 weeks prior to meeting me and had lied about it for the first 11 months of our relationship. My jaw dropped. I said he put my health at risk, lied to me about it, while saying he loved me, and did nothing health or stress wise to help my body recover. We broke up for a short while and he begged to get back together, and said he'd make changes, which he made, eat better, smoke less pot, and then recanted because he said he resented them. A month later, it came up in a fight and he blamed the STD on me. He incorrectly recalled the situation and said I seduced him and he had to lie because he wanted to me and he was thinking with his dick. He didn't remember that he lied to me after we slept together, not before. And he said it was my fault that I got the STD since I put him in that position, so I gave it to myself. I talked to my therapist and she somewhat dismissed this as something people often do, lie about their past, so they can get with their new partner, and so their new partner will stay with them. She acted like this is somewhat okay and understandable. Is this common for a guy and okay to do? Should I stay with him or is this an unrecoverable action? Can I have a good 40 years with him after this? You need a new boyfriend and a new therapist. Neither of them have your best interests at heart. Honestly, it really is that simple and clear-cut in this scenario. He gaslit you, endangered your health, and does not seem like a very good person. Also, your therapist does not sound very good either, and I might look into switching to a different one. People commit armed robbery all the time, but it doesn't make it okay. If he can lie about having an STD for a year, what else can he lie about? Not a good situation all around. I'm sure it's probably common, but I wouldn't say it's okay at all. If it makes you feel bad, then it's bad. So on top of lying, he's literally blaming you for his bad decisions and poor emotional regulation. I have no idea what sorts of relationships your therapist is getting into, but this seems like a lovely collage of red flags to me. That therapist is a hoax. Did they even finish high school? What therapist would say it's not a big deal? Not just about this, but about anything. If a client experiences something as big, it bloody is big. Your therapist is a tool, most likely in a bad relationship which he or she also rationalize. You're dating a man-child, by the way, and unless you like raising children in their 40s, you should move on. You've posted 8 different times about this guy. You know it's time to break up and move on. You need validation. This is it. He's awful and you shouldn't stay with him. Full stop. Our baseball coach is very homophobic. 2 of our best players are gay, but we are all working together to hide that from him. We're all 17, give or take. We all come from a place where, if you don't win a scholarship for one thing or another, you're not going to college. Being on the varsity team of any sport is a full-time commitment, and our spots are constantly up for grabs if someone better / who'd work harder comes along. You know the whole thing, only 7.3% of high school players go NCAA and only 9.9% of them go pro, so we've set up a system where we can practice all year, in and out of season, so as you can imagine, our team is incredibly close friends. Arguably we're far more loyal to each other than our coach. We're all hell-bent on moving up in the world in one way or another. Our coach is a good coach. He is. We've done very well in our state and beyond. I want to say more but I'm afraid to ruin being anonymous. The only problem is that, if we do anything wrong, he immediately goes for homophobic jabs. Sometimes I think he thinks he's all woke and modern because he does that instead of sexist, throw like a girl stuff since he has daughters. He's pretty much congratulated himself for it to us. 2 of us are gay. They're dating each other. They were completely closeted, until we all slowly began to figure it out despite their best efforts. I mean, how many hours can you spend traveling and working with someone before you get to know them and their tells? We all grew up together, and even when they were overcompensate to cover it, they were still treating each other different than the rest. Hell, my dumbass thought they were mad at each other in sophomore year. Then, one night when we were hanging out, after the rest of us talked it over together, one of our friends basically said, "Let's address the elephant in the room. We've seen X and Y and heard Z, and we just want you to know that, if we're right in thinking that you're in a relationship, we completely support you both. You're free to be yourselves around us, you know." And since then, they've been able to be a normal, dating couple when it's just the lot of us, and our girlfriends are in on it too. And when adults and teachers are around, we all know to do everything to keep the secret. They don't deserve to be insulted to their face. No one does. But they're, like, singularly good guys. One is class president and the other one is in the middle of collecting winter wear for kids in our community displaced by COVID. It's so strange to be able to see behind the bullshit our coach just says to all of us, and to know that it's opinions like his that makes our friends have to pretend to be different people for the majority of the day. I've asked them each whether or not it bothers them, and they've shrugged it off saying that they're privileged enough just to be born at a time where they can be themselves with their friends. But my philosophy on the whole thing is that, yes, they're lucky to be born at a time where respect for gay people is expected. Times have been worse, but they sure as shit could be better for them. Respect is a right when you're doing nothing wrong, especially when you're hardworking and kind as well. This shit makes me furious. My relationship with my girlfriend is one of the only things keeping me sane between work, schoolwork, practice, maintaining my scholarships, hunting for more, and the chaos in the world at large. I don't think I could handle if I also had to balance having to pretend to be all, hello fellow associate, with her 90% of the time. Is there any way to help? I've wanted to pull our coach aside and talk to him since he knows I'm straight and I can come from the angle of, hey, what you're doing isn't affecting me, but your behavior still blows, so change it up. But I don't want to make things worse. We got particularly screamed at and called FGs yesterday, and this shit has my skin crawling. It sounds like it could affect your scholarship chances if he gets pissed off about you talking to him and decides not to give a recommendation. Factor that into account, especially if the 2 of them are saying they're okay with it. It's not okay, of course, and something needs to be said. That can, however, be said a few months from now just as well after you've secured a scholarship, or you could talk to the principal and make sure it's kept anonymous. I don't have a clear answer for you, but I think you should talk with your team about this first, and make sure everyone's on board. The 2 guys might not want to draw particular attention to the slurs in case someone picks up on why it bothers you all. Hey, teacher and former vice principal here. You sounds like awesome guys. Your coach's behavior is not okay. I would love to know where in the country/world you are. If you are in the United States, calling people homophobic slurs is considered sexual harassment. You could let the administration of your school know what is happening. They are required to investigate and address it. Alternately, you alone or the entire team could talk to him and let him know that those comments are unacceptable. There might be more strength in the entire team talking to him. I love Gen Z boys so much. They're dismantling so many toxic expectations put on them by the previous generations, who also had it put upon them. You sound like you're doing great. Keep your heart open to empathy and keep practicing the skill of seeing life from another person's eyes in order to help them. Good job, kiddo. I, 20M, saw my stepdad, 50M, eating a whole pineapple in the nude at 3 AM, and he's telling me it didn't happen. A few nights ago I got up to get a cold drink from downstairs BC. I was thirsty. I do this often and I usually go to the kitchen because the water from the refrigerator is filtered. However, when I got there I saw my stepfather Alan from behind, totally nude. I didn't really process this at first. He turned around and I saw he was cutting up a pineapple. I was so freaked out that I left the room and went back to bed. This morning I told my mom to please tell Alan to wear clothes if he's going out of the bedroom. Well, she said Alan doesn't sleep naked. I said yes he does. He was nude eating pineapple in the kitchen last night. Alan confronted me and said it never happened. Then he said I either lied or was sleep hallucinating. But it definitely happened. I don't know why he's denying it. I looked in our trash and there's no pineapple there, though, so whatever he did with the pineapple carcass is a mystery. That said, he definitely did it. My mom is asking me to apologize, and I think they both think I did this to cause problems in their marriage, but I really did not. I'm just not sure what to do. For the sake of keeping the peace, I just let it go. He might be really embarrassed about eating a pineapple naked, although after a certain point in your life I feel like we can all understand the sentiment. Sometimes nothing matters and everything is confusing and you just really want some fruit. Keep an eye on the fruit in your house and just make a little extra noise if you get up late at night so you don't sneak up on anyone. If it happens again, tell him in the moment to put some damp pants on for midnight snacks. Sometimes a man just needs to eat a pineapple in the nude. It happens to the best of us. I'm just curious, do you think people who hallucinate are always aware that they're hallucinating? Here's the test. Did your family have a pineapple in the kitchen yesterday? Do you have a pineapple in there today? Is there pineapple skin in the trash? There was a pineapple in there yesterday. Now it's not there. Either he was sleepwalking or you were, but it's not particularly relevant which way around. You should just drop it. This is a nothing event. If he was nude and ate entire pineapple, maybe he was getting ready for date night with mom. Maybe Alan had an Ambien.